Can you state your name for the audience, please?
My name is Jan Willard.
Hello, Jan Willaert. So you were originally from Belgium, and now you work and live in America for nearly 15 years. Was it a difficult transition for you to come live in America?
In certain ways it was, yes. I mean, for me it was always an adventure, so I always enjoyed it, and whatever came my way was fun for me to overcome. But yes, it wasn't as easy as I thought it was. There were many things that were surprising to me. The religiosity of the situation, the fact that Americans are very matter of fact, and you don't really get along with your neighbors the way you do in Belgium. So certain practical things in the beginning were difficult, but more on the personal level than the work level.
What did you struggle with the most then?
Things like finding an apartment, buying a car, getting a credit card, a social security number, a driver's license, all the practical things of life that are not very difficult, but very different from Belgium. I needed to figure that out all on my own because I had no help, and the only people I knew were my brand new colleagues at work, and it's not that they're not helpful or not nice. To them, it's just life. So if somebody else shows up, it's not like they're jumping up and down to help me out. So I was pretty much on my own. And part of it was my fault. Like as a new employee, you're not going to be asking everybody for help. So I'm partly to blame as well that I didn't ask help. But yeah, in the beginning, the practicalities of life were a little bit of a hindrance to integrate, I guess.
What do you actually do for a living?
I currently work for a private security company that's headquartered here in Los Angeles, California, and I am the Vice President for Business Development for our international business.
When did you first notice the cultural differences between Belgium and America?
I remember that I went to Brussels, in an office job, and you walk into the office in the morning and everybody says hello. You do your tour, it takes a half hour, you kiss, very friendly people. People get very personal. You walk into the office here in the US and you go straight to your cubicle or your office. You only say hi to the people that you happen to cross in the hallway and you start working. And that's it. It's very formal, it's very impersonal in a certain level. It only becomes personal after a while. I get the impression that in here in the US, the process is slightly reversed, that you first establish the professional relationship and then comes a personal relationship. I think, and I got the impression, and I can't really say so because I've been gone for a very, very long time, that in Belgium it is more of a mix. You establish the personal and the professional simultaneously.
And why do you think that is, that American people concentrate first on the professional relationships?
I think in general, Americans are very self-centered, as in it's the individual that counts. They don't really care. They're here to do a job, they're here to make the money, and then they go home where they have their separate lives. They also don't want personal to mix with business so that it doesn't screw anything up. I don't know. Maybe it's also part of how people live. In Belgium, a lot of the houses are attached. The cities are fairly dense. You take public transportation, so we're constantly very close to one another. Here in California, or where I lived before in Texas, in the South, houses are huge, on huge lots. You don't have a lot of contact with your neighbors in your personal life. Everybody sits in their car in the morning. You don't talk to people on the subway. So the whole society is set up to be on your own. So then when you come to work, it's just a continuation of that same life, where you're sort of separated from the other.
Did religion also have an impact on your professional life? Because in America, people are very religious in some areas.
People are very religious. I had an incident here in my office where somebody wanted to convince me of their belief system, and they would put holy water on my desk or leave Bible verses on my chair and stuff like that. which was cute in the beginning, of course, but after a while it gets annoying, so I had to file a complaint with HR. Religion or anything like sexual harassment, anything along those cases is extremely sensitive here, or creating a hostile work environment, as if you, like when you are in an argument with someone. Society is very litigious, so you want to always bring this up with HR directly. So for me personally, it doesn't happen very often, but I am constantly aware that you have to be careful of what you say and what you do.
Have you learned something new about the American way of working in a business that you think we should apply more in Belgium businesses?
I like the fact that Americans get to the point. You know, it is business. It's the dollar that counts. I may like you as a person, but our business deal may be completely screwed up. That does not ruin my personal relationship with you. So the two of them are completely and utterly separate, and I enjoy that. You have a meeting, the meeting happens. It happens on time, you follow the agenda, people are to the point, there's no beating about the bush. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case in Belgium or not, but I get the feeling that America is more so than Europe, or at least certain countries in Europe.
Is America more a collectivist society or an individualistic society?
100% individualistic. But there's a caveat. People are very individualistic. Personal responsibility is a very important concept here. But personal responsibility cuts both ways. So there's a lot of people that feel personally responsible to contribute to society. There's a lot of very wealthy people who've set up their own personal charities with their own money to help the homeless people, to help the environment, in case of emergencies like when there's an earthquake. So people are very individualistic in the sense that, for example, they want the government out of their life. They don't believe that things like unemployment insurance should be as elaborate as in Europe. They don't believe that healthcare insurance should be a fundamental right, or at least part of the population thinks that. So there's certain things where the sense of solidarity as it is imposed by the government shouldn't be so excessive. But from a personal point of view, people do get very involved. I've never seen people as involved in Belgium as I see people here. People get incredibly involved in their local communities. Here you vote for sheriffs, you vote for council members, you vote for the members of the school board. So people are incredibly involved in their local community, but it's all personal initiative. So it's very individualistic, but that does not mean that people are that people don't have a sense of solidarity for the other people in their community. Let's put it like that.
Have you ever felt confused by the actions in general of someone, personal or in a business, that's actually normal to do in their culture?
I didn't, like, people don't use a knife and fork, right? And I don't either. I did the first year and then I gave up because I realized Americans are really practical. Eating with a fork is really easy and convenient. And these people are smart. They don't care about what other people think. They do what's comfortable for them. That's why you see them in the morning in the grocery store in their pajamas, because it's freaking comfortable. And why would we judge them? You know, we Europeans are extremely judgmental. So you're absolutely right. In the beginning, I thought, this is stupid, the system of tipping, or this is stupid, the way they eat. But that's my problem. That's not theirs, you know? It's me not willing to see their point of view and why the system works that way. So you're right. Yeah, in the beginning, I had to adjust to this.
Is there a moment when you ever made a cultural mistake, maybe in the beginning?
Yes, I kissed people. If you have friends in the US and you meet up in a bar, you shake hands, both males and females. You do not kiss on the cheek. You may give a hug if you're close. So in the beginning, I had a hard time not kissing people because it comes so naturally to meet someone, and especially if you know them well, to give them a kiss on the cheek. That is not done, especially not in a professional environment. And I mean, sometimes it is, but the general rule is that it isn't. One person hit me in the face one time because it was inappropriate. That's an extreme example that happened in Georgia. Something that is reverse is in the United States, people talk very easily about money. They talk about what they paid for their house, what they make per month in salary. Money is a very common thing, whereas I don't think it is in Belgium. So sometimes I start talking about things in Belgium and I forget that it's not exactly done. So it happens more in the reverse because I guess I've become a little bit more American by now.
Could we conclude that the American culture and the Belgian culture
Yes,
is very different
I would
from
think
each other?
so. It is very different, but it's not unsurmountable. It is different in the details. I think anybody that would come here would be successful as long as you're a flexible, open-minded person. And then you can deal with these things, and that's just going to sound, and all these differences are going to be background noise.
And now to end our interview, can you give any tips for the students who want to work abroad next year? And which qualities do they have to work abroad?
First off, I would totally recommend it. By moving to another place, you become a much more open-minded person, a lot more flexible. You get to put things in perspective simply because you're being thrown out in a different world than what you're used to. So if you have a chance, you should always do it. But as we mentioned before, you have to go in with a very open mind, non-judgmental, very important. Respect the fact that you're in a different place and you're the stranger. You're the one who's weird. You're the one who has ways of doing things and ways of thinking that are not the norm. So if you realize that and you're willing to look at the good of your new environment, I think you'll be very successful. You cannot go overseas and project your expectation of your Belgian behavior on these other people. You have to receive that new place and feel and make a genuine effort to integrate and become a little bit like the people that you are now part of.
Well, thank you for the interview and thanks for making the time.
You're very welcome.
Bye.